If you want to streamline your e-learning development process, then you're going to want to include these top 3 tools in your workflow. They'll give you everything that you need to build an e-learning project from start to finish. And make sure to stick around until the end because number 3 may even come as a surprise. Hi, I'm Kristin, and I'm an instructional designer on Devlin's team. My upskilling journey to instructional design was full of a lot of excitement and hard work, but if I'm being honest, a lot of really hard lessons. And one of the hardest lessons for me was that I just wanted to learn all of the tools. And it got me stuck in what felt like an endless cycle of signing up for all the free trials and then drowning in all the free trials because I was forgetting to cancel all of the free trials, and I just felt really scattered. And we don't want you to feel like that. So that's why we're giving you our top 3 tools that you can prioritize while you're upskilling. And that's because these 3 tools are going to give you everything that you need to develop an engaging e-learning project from start to finish. Let's check them out. So no surprises here, Articulate Storyline 360 is still the #1 e-learning authoring tool out there. Our hiring manager report for 2024 by far showed Articulate Storyline at the very top of what hiring managers want instructional designers to be familiar with upon hire. And that's probably because you can do a lot with it. Storyline is what lets you add that interactive piece to your e-learning. So with it, you can create interactive learning experiences. Think about things like software and scenario-based simulations, gamified modules and courses, interactive quizzes and assessments. And then on top of creating that interactivity, you can also make sure that that interactivity integrates with your LMS. So Storyline lets you publish in SCORM and XAPI formats. And then from there, you can upload that into your LMS, track progress and performance, and then gain a lot of other valuable learner insights. So you can probably see why it's so highly valued in our field, and also why it's so commonly put as a need in job descriptions. They want you to be proficient in Storyline. Not all of them related to instructional design, but many. And so making sure or putting some time into upskilling and learning Storyline can definitely make you more marketable. To learn Storyline, make sure that you make use of that 30-day free trial that they offer. To make sure that you make the most out of the 30-day free trial, you can check out our video on how to learn Storyline 360. And then also make sure to check out Storyline's website for pricing plans after that. So we listed Storyline as our very first tool here, but it's actually probably the last tool that you would use in your development process. And that's because it's able to house kind of everything that you might create in other tools like videos, audio, all of that. And so what other tools might you need to create a project? That leads us to our next tool, which is Vyond. So I've been talking about Vyond quite a bit here on the channel lately, and that's because it's on the rise in popularity. Vyond is a super easy to use online tool where you can create animated videos for the most part without a huge learning curve. So you don't need like advanced animation skills to be able to create in Vyond, really just basic video editing skills, and you can pick up and create something cool. Now, you probably noticed that Vyond was not at the top of the hiring manager survey report that we showed earlier, and that's because we didn't include it. We so wish we did because we're seeing it on the rise in popularity, and overall it's just a really valuable tool, so we're definitely going to make sure that we include it in next year's hiring manager survey. Now, something really valuable about Vyond is that it offers a large asset library full of a ton of different prop and character options. And what's great about that is that you don't have to go searching through other stock sites and pay for a stock site because you can pretty much find what you need in Vyond. And another great thing about that is that all of their props and characters match a similar style. So I know I've spent forever on stock sites trying to find similar style. What's also great about Vyond is that it lets you create and download videos for Storyline projects so that you can download those and then weave those into Storyline. So having a large asset library and then being able to create and download videos is kind of like a 2-for-1 deal here. And Vyond certainly is not the only tool that offers both stock options and the ability to create and download videos, but we're big fans of Vyond here. It's super easy to use, and it also has a lot of pre-made templates that you can customize to create videos fairly quickly. So it's definitely a tool we think that you should check out, and certainly one that is going to be beneficial in using 3 tools only to develop a tool from start to finish. So speaking of that, let's talk about how we can use Vyond in a Storyline e-learning course. So there are a lot of different ways you could use Vyond, and here are just some that can be really powerful. So you can use Vyond to create a conversation between two different characters that are relevant to your course. You also could have a character demo, maybe like a process or a specific task. You can also create scenarios and weave in interactivity and storyline. So kind of like a learner is presented with a scenario and they have to make a decision based on that scenario. And then finally, stories. So Vyond lets you add character emotions and actions, which can be really powerful for storytelling. So you can weave a relatable story throughout your course to keep your learners engaged. If you decide to use Vyond, make sure to make use of the 14-day free trial. And then to make the most out of the free trial, check out our video called The Ultimate Vyond Starter Kit for eLearning. From there, make sure you also check out Vyond's website for pricing plans after that. Now, we have Vyond for creating our videos, and then we have Storyline for housing those videos and adding interactivity, but that's all in the development process. So what about design? What can we use to help us with our design process to make it easier and more impactful? That leads us to our third and final tool. Now for the third tool that might come as a surprise, we have ChatGPT. Now, hear me out because I know it might sound unconventional talking about using a machine when we want to show off your instructional design skills in a project. But being able to effectively use generative AI really is a skill in and of itself. Now, ChatGPT is a generative AI model that was developed by OpenAI. And when you're using it, you can input text-based questions or prompts, and it'll output responses for you. Now, I'm sure that you've heard a ton of buzz about it in the last year or year and a half. A lot of people are super excited about its potential, and a lot of people are really skeptical about it. And what's really important when you're thinking about using ChatGPT is to think about it less as something that's going to do the work for you and more as like a pair of glasses. So something that's going to allow you to see a little bit more clearly, and because of that, read, write, and execute tasks a little bit more efficiently, but it's not going to do the work for you. ChatGPT can do a lot of really powerful things for your workflow. So you can speed up your design process by generating things like stories or ideas for stories. You can generate outlines or storyboards or scripts for videos. You can generate learning objectives, assessment questions, and you even could have it generate like correct or incorrect feedback for those assessment questions. There's a lot you can do with it, but what's most important is that you always refine and customize the output. I really can't stress that enough. ChatGPT is a powerful tool, but it is so much more powerful when you are adding your touches to it and you're refining based off of your voice and what your learners need to hear. So definitely always make sure you're refining and customizing your output to make sure it's as effective as possible. The basic version of ChatGPT is free to use, and you can also check out OpenAI's website for different paid versions and prices. Also, make sure to check out our video on how to use ChatGPT for instructional design for more use cases, tips, and examples. So now we know all the three tools that we can use in a project from start to finish, but we kind of went backwards from Storyline to Vyond to ChatGPT, which isn't the order you'd use them in. So let's see how we can use all of these together one more time. First and foremost, these tools are just tools. So always make sure that you're developing with learning theory and science in mind. Now, when you're using these three tools, you can start with ChatGPT to ideate, then you can create videos with Vyond, and then you can download those videos, bring them into Storyline, and add that interactivity to truly engage your learners. Make sure to always make use of the free trials, plan ahead, use ChatGPT to come up with all your ideas before you sign up for those to make sure that you get the most out of the tools. So there you have it. By sticking to these three tools, you can save yourself all that extra time and the headache of having to juggle all of the tools out there. We've got plenty of videos on this channel that go over how to use these tools. And if you want to explore even more tools for both e-learning and the ID process, check out our video on the 10 best instructional design tools and software. If you are looking for more guidance and support, we do offer our Storyline Project Lab, where you can dive into hands-on projects to advance your skills. You can check out the link to that in the description below. Otherwise, good luck on your next e-learning project, and I will see you next time.